Hello everyone. In this video I'll be showing you how to create a custom tool for Scrap Mechanic using the sm.interop mod. So to start off, we're gonna create a new mod in the mod tool. I'm calling it test tool because we're gonna test it out. And then I'll open a folder. And now I'm gonna go to the example project on GitHub and download the zip. So this zip file will contain all the scripts that you need to get started with sm.interop. So I'll be copying those over to my mod and replace the files. And now, as you can see, there are a number of files here. For example, in scripts we have an init.lua and a registrations.lua and some folders with scripts. And we also have a parts.json and a tools.json. I'll be explaining how everything works with that later, but the first thing we need to do is go to init.lua and change these details. So let's start with setting the namespace. Now the namespace is it's an identifier for your mod, so that sm.interop knows which mod is what. And usually you don't, as the users, players, they don't come into contact with it often, except with commands sometimes, but that's not the subject of this video. So let's get our namespace sorted. So let's use this test tool, and as a name we set test tool mod. As the author you can put your name, and then as UUID you have to copy the local ID from descriptions.json. And interop needs this to be able to call files and to call files from your scripts folder, which is important for custom tools. So then you have version, that's not really important, and part UUID. Part UUID is needs to be the UUID of one of your parts. It doesn't matter which, but it needs to be one of your parts, so that it can determine whether it uses that UUID to determine whether your mod is loaded or not. Then the last one is startup scripts, and startup scripts are Lua files that are called every time you load the world. And to register them, you need to have a scripted part of your mod placed in a world only once, and then it will keep calling the startup scripts after that, even if there are no parts of your mod in the world anymore. So that's useful if you want to register custom tool types. So that's where we do that in the startup script. So if we go to registration.lua now, you can see that this is where all the registrations are made. So you can register custom commands, custom tools, custom connection types. Since we're only going to be focusing on tools in this video, I'm going to remove all of this and only explain this part. So as you can see, you are using local mod is sm.interop startup get current mod. That's so that that you can use your mod object to register all your things, such as custom tools. So in this line you see that we're registering a tool, and then the first parameter is the mod object. The second parameter is the custom tools name, and this needs to be a string without spaces. You can use dashes or underscores or whatever, but it needs to be unique to your tool within your mod. And then this parameter is the script, the file name of the script for your tool. So you can see here in the scripts folder there is a tools folder, and we have a custom tool here, and this is the script for the tool. So as you may know, most of the tools in the vanilla scrap mechanic game also have the tool script. So if you want to make your own custom tools, you also need a tool script. Now, the last parameter here is the class name. As you can see here at the start of the file, we're doing custom tool is and then create class. This line is very important, otherwise it will not be able to register your custom tool correctly. So let's take a look at this custom tool.lua file. As you can see, you can use do file in here to load, for example, animation utils if you're going to be using that, and you can use sm.tool.preload renderables if you're going to use renderables. Now for this tool, I won't be using those yet, because that's quite advanced and you need to do a lot of modeling and stuff for that. Now, so I will only be focusing on this part. Client create is the setup function. So if you need to set initial variables for values for variables, you can do that here. For example, self. Let's say delay is whatever. You can imagine that for yourself. Then there is the on client update on equipped update function, and this is called every time every tick when you are holding your tool in your hand, and it has 3 parameters: primary state, secondary state, and force build. This has to do with your mouse buttons, etc. But in this function, you can do all the things that your tool needs to do. So right now in the default custom tool, it says primary state is sm tools start. So that means when you click your left mouse button, then it does this. So right now it sends a chat message, but you can also do other things, such as you can print to the debug console. You can do calculations. You can also, and that's also useful, you can also execute things on the server, because on equipped update is always called on the client, but using self.network send to server, you can also execute functions on the server. So for example, you can place parts or whatever. That works the same way as in parts, just for your tool. That's not very important right now, but that's important to know if you're going to make anything complicated. Now, as you can see, we have our custom tool here. That's our tool script. Now, in order to also attach the tool to a part, we need to call this function in our registration script. So tools.attach, and then the name of the namespace of your mod. So for me, that would be this test tool. I think I called it test mod. What did I do? Yeah, test tool. So test tool, and then a colon, and then the name that you set up here. So custom tool. Then in the second parameter to that function, you give a UUID of a part that will function as this tool. So in tools.json here in my shapesets, I have a part with this UUID, and the most important property of this object here is that it has the auto tool property, which is set to this value. This UUID is the internal UUID that sm.interop uses to load the tool. So it's important that you put this to this value. Then you have the renderable, which is just like parts, because it is a part. It's for your model and your textures. And then lastly here, if you don't want your tool to be able to be placed as an object, you just need to set up a box collision that is very large, so that you will not be able to put it on the ground. So for tools.json, now you see here the save these files. You see here the init.lua. This is really the only part you need to change. This will just make sure that everything that you put here gets executed correctly, and there's no reason really to change anything here. No, but init.lua only gets called when you place down one of your scripted parts and you do to-file init.lua at the top, and that's important because otherwise your startup scripts will not be registered, so your tool will not be loaded. This is just the part from the example mod, but it's important that you need to place your one scripted custom part in a world before it loads the tools. So you could imagine you could maybe make a toolbox item or whatever that you just place, and then it could send a chat message like custom tools registered or something like that. Anyway, that's up to you. The point is you need to call init.lua using a part once if you want your tools to be loaded. To test that out, I'm gonna start script mechanic. I'm gonna create a new world and I'm gonna call it test tool. I'll be selecting the test tool and the sm.interop mods, of course. Now, in order to actually load your tool, you need to have it in your hand first of all, but as you see now, nothing is showing up. Also because I didn't set a model, of course, but the other part is that the tool script has not been registered yet, so we need to place a part, and this will call the registration.lua that we used before. But now there's one thing in Scrap Mechanic at the moment, and it is that you need to have an actual tool item in your hotbar, not just a part that loads a tool. So we'll put the modded tools loader in our hotbar. I'm putting it in my third hotbar. It doesn't matter where it is, but just to keep it out of sight. Now when I hold the part, you see, you left click using your custom tool. So now that we have our tool set up, what can we do with it? Now, because of the way the scripting works at the moment, even if you are in dev mode with your game, just updating the script here will not immediately also update the script. So we'll need to reload the world before it actually shows our changes. But for example, one thing we could do is create a custom tool client on equip function, and we could say sm.gui chat message, you have equipped a custom tool, and we could equally do an unequip function, so client unequip, you have unequipped. So these functions you can also use to load animations or set variables. That all depends on the kind of tool you want to make. Now, one tool I would like to make is a coordinate checker. So I'm gonna change this here to coordinate checker, and then in the left click I am going to do local position is sm.localPlayer.get world position, and then I will use sm.gui in the chat message and say position.x, position y, position.z. Now if all goes well, and I hope it does, if we reload the world, we will see that when we equip the tool, which doesn't have an icon yet so far, but we know it's there, it says you have equipped the coordinate checker, and when we walk around and we click, it doesn't do anything. What did we do wrong? Bad argument to error. Okay, it seems like we've done something wrong. I'll check out what the problem is with the error messages, because that should work a bit better. But maybe we did a wrong function call, so let's go to here. Oh, it is only get position. That probably explains what's wrong. So let's reload the world again, and you're gonna have to do this a lot when debugging. I will try to figure out some way if we can make it that it reloads the scripts better, but right now there's not a way of doing that with the current limitations of the game as far as I'm aware. And now, as you can see, when you left click, it says position 2513.0, and if we walk somewhere else, it's gonna say a different thing. If we build up a bit, it will also say that we're in the air now, which you can see by the Z coordinate. So that was this quick tutorial on how to make custom tools. Now, anyone who wants to use your tool will of course need the sm.interop mod as a dependency, and they will need to install the game file mod part as well, which is explained here how that works. There's also a video on the Steam page, so your users can see what they need to do in order to make your custom tool working. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you another time.